You can support In the Past Lane with a donation via Patreon or PayPal. Just go to inthepastlane.com and click on support. Thanks.
Whoa, hit the brakes. You've arrived at the #1 drive-by for American history. Welcome to The Pit Stop. Brought to you by In the Past Lane, the podcast about history and why it matters. Here's Edward T. O'Donnell, your host and historian at large.
Hi everyone, welcome to The Pit Stop, your Monday morning source for history on the go in just about 5 minutes. We offer this feature every Monday, in addition to our full feature episodes. Here's what happened in American history the week of November 19th, 2018. Let's start with birthdays. November 19th, 1831. That's the birthday of the 20th President of the United States, James A. Garfield, who was born in Moreland Hills, Ohio. Garfield once said, "All free governments are managed by the combined wisdom and folly of the people." 2 other United States presidents were born this week. November 23rd, 1804, Franklin Pierce, the 14th President of the United States, was born in Concord, New Hampshire. November 24th, 1784, Zachary Taylor, the 12th President of the United States, was born in Barboursville, Virginia. November 20th, 1925, that's the birthday of a guy who might have been president, Robert F. Kennedy, who was born in Brookline, Massachusetts. Robert F. Kennedy once said, "Few will have the greatness to bend history, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events, and in the total of all those acts will be written the history of a generation." November 22nd, 1943, that's the birthday of tennis champion Billie Jean King, who was born in Long Beach, California. Billie Jean King once said, "Sports teaches you character. It teaches you to play by the rules. It teaches you to know what it feels like to win and lose. It teaches you about life." November 24th, 1925, writer, talk show host, and influential voice of conservatism, William F. Buckley Jr. was born in New York City. Buckley became a prominent conservative voice in 1951 with the publication of his first book, God and Man at Yale. 4 years later, he founded National Review, a magazine that quickly became a key source of conservative ideas in politics. William F. Buckley once said, "A conservative is a fellow standing athwart history yelling stop." November 25th, 1846, Prohibitionist Carrie Nation was born in Garrard County, Kentucky. Carrie Nation gained notoriety in the early 20th century by smashing up saloons with her axe in an effort to rid the nation of the scourge of alcohol. Carrie Nation once said, "Men are nicotine-soaked, beer-besmirched, whiskey-greased, red-eyed devils." Okay, how about events? November 19th, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln stood on a stage overlooking the battlefield at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. 4 months earlier, Union and Confederate forces clashed there in an epic 3-day-long battle that produced about 50,000 killed, wounded, and missing. Lincoln's speech, the Gettysburg Address, was only 271 words. But in the decades since 1863, it's achieved iconic status. November 20th, 1820, a Nantucket whaling vessel named the Essex, while plying the seas in the South Pacific, was rammed and sunk by an angry whale. The survivors clambered aboard whaleboats, beginning a harrowing tale of suffering, starvation, and cannibalism. This was the story that inspired a writer named Herman Melville to write his famous novel, Moby Dick. November 20th, 1962, after 13 days of excruciating tension and anxiety, the Cuban Missile Crisis ended. This standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union was probably the closest the world ever came to an all-out nuclear war. November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy, 35th President of the United States, was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Kennedy's murder, the 4th president killed by an assassin, made LBJ president. It also raised many questions that have fed conspiracy theories ever since. Okay, time for the last word. Let's give it to Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth, on this continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our power to add or detract. It is for us, the living, rather, to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause, for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion. that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Okay, people, that's your history fix. Now put it in drive and go make your own history. And while you're at it, happy Thanksgiving.